All right. Hello and welcome everybody to the Akasia webinar series. Our topic today is how to proactively plan for VMware Cloud on AWS and save additional 30 to 60% costs. Now, we are recording this webinar, so relax and pay attention. You can post your questions in the questions section. We do have a Q&A section at the very end of our webinar. We will address all your questions there. And if it makes sense, we can also take your questions during the presentation. I'm so delighted to welcome our speakers for today. They're both experts in their areas. We have Alex Zuo, who is responsible for product and business development at VMware. Alex has had stints at IBM and HP. He has several patents to his name and is an expert on infrastructure management. We've been working closely with Alex to build our support for VMware Cloud on Amazon, and we are so delighted to have him here to give us a run-through on the benefits of VMware Cloud on AWS, as well as give us a live demo. We also have Gautam Thockchom, who is our CTO and is a familiar face and name around all of Akasia's outbound marketing. He is the CTO of AkasiaCloud, and he's the brain behind our product portfolio. Gautam has very deep expertise in cloud and cloud infrastructure, from having advised or worked at several cloud-focused companies with cloud migration, backup, DR, etc., as well as planning. So Gautam will walk us through the Akasia support for VMware Cloud on Amazon and also give us a demo. With that, I am going to turn over to Alex, who is going to introduce us to VMware Cloud on Amazon. Alex, you're the presenter. Take it away.
Great. Thanks, Garima. And hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar. So I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Great. So I will cover two parts. So for the first part, I will share several slides and give you an overview of VMware Cloud on AWS and its key use cases, what's the key benefits to customers, and the pricing part. And then for the second part, I will show you a live demo so that you will know, what is VMware Cloud on AWS and have a feeling about that. So the first question is why VMware is doing VMware Cloud on AWS with AWS, and what is this new cloud service? So VMware announced VMware Cloud on AWS several weeks ago during VMworld, and we are doing this because we talked to our customers, and VMware has 500,000 customers, and a lot of customers are extending to cloud, but they say that they don't have a good hybrid cloud solution. So there is a big gap in the market. So we are doing this because we want to close the gap. So VMware Cloud on AWS is a SDDC-based cloud service, meaning it's a software-defined data center. So it's a full stack. It's a full collection VMware virtualization software stack. It includes computer virtualization vSphere, storage virtualization vSAN, and networking virtualization NSX. So it's a full stack running in AWS hardware infrastructure in a dedicated VPC. So it's a bare metal solution. I want to emphasize this. It's a bare metal solution. It's not nested. We are not consuming EC2. It's not on-prem. So because it's a bare metal solution, the performance is guaranteed. It's hypervisor ESXi running directly on the AWS hardware infrastructure. So because it's a hybrid cloud, so that we can connect VMware Cloud on AWS back to the on-prem environment and use vCenter as a single pane of glass to manage both on-prem and cloud. So because most of our customers, they are already familiar with vCenter so that there is nothing new for them to learn to manage this cloud environment. The second part is that because this environment of VMware Cloud on AWS is running in a dedicated VPC inside AWS infrastructure, so that we can build a connection between VMware Cloud on AWS with other AWS services, so that our customers can direct access to native AWS services like F3, like EC2, like RDS. So again, this is VMware Cloud on AWS. It's a hybrid cloud, so it's a bare metal solution, so the performance is guaranteed. Okay, let's go to next slide. Then we'll drill down to talk about several of the key features available at the initial availability. So I like to talk about the 3 features here. The first feature is a hybrid link mode. It's a feature. It's a vCenter server feature that powers the single pane of glass. Because of the hybrid link mode, you can use vCenter to manage the on-prem and cloud resources, and you can see all the resources in a single UI. The second one is vMotion. So a lot of customers are talking about vMotion because they want to move the workloads back and forth. They don't want to have a downtime. So vMotion is available inside of VMware Cloud on AWS. You can do the live migration, and the on-prem and cloud, the migration between on-prem and cloud is not available yet. It's in development. It will be available in the second release that will be in November. So because we are targeting enterprise customers, so that the hybrid availability HA and DRS are all available to our customers, meaning because VMware is managing the environment, so that for our customers, you just manage those custom VMs. Meaning, if there is a hardware failure, you don't need to worry about that because VMware take care of that. Think about this. This is a big advantage for our customers. Before, if you have a hardware failure, you have to open ticket, you have to wait like days or even weeks to get it fixed. For here is totally different because all the process is automated. The whole process, we can fix the hardware failure is kind of like 10 minutes. That will be super fast. Also about the storage and networking. So because it's a SDDC stack, so our storage is based on VMware vSAN product. So it's all flash. So for networking part is based on NSX. That's a very mature enterprise solution, and because of that, you can inside VMC you can build your logic networks. Also, you can use IPsec level 3 VPN to build a connection between on-prem and cloud. Okay, that's several features. Then, so what we can say that VMware Cloud on AWS is a joint effort. It's a joint development effort between AWS and VMware. But this is a VMware service, meaning VMware is managing the customer relationship, and you will get one bill from VMware. And when you have problems, you just call VMware. There is only one number for you to call. So this is a new service, and this service is operated, sold, and supported by VMware. Here we will see several key use cases for our customers. The first one is maintain and expand. For example, if you are a US-based company, you want to expand to Europe or you want to expand to Asia, you don't want to manage or build a second data center there. You can just use VMware Cloud on AWS. Or if you want backup or you want to disaster recovery, but you don't want to maintain second data center, you can replicate your workloads to AWS 3 and bring it up in VMware Cloud on AWS when there is a disaster happens. So that's the use case for maintain and expand. For the second use case is consolidation and migration. A lot of customers, they want to migrate their applications from on-prem to cloud because it's agility, because of the flexibility, but they don't want to re-architecture and redo the applications. So VMware Cloud on AWS is the best option here because it's the same environment as on-prem, meaning if you have applications working on-prem, your application should automatically work in VMware Cloud on AWS because it's the same environment. The last use case is cloud power workloads, meaning those testing, development, and testing environment. Cloud is one of the best options to do the development and testing because developers and testers, they can control that their environment. They don't need to rely on some other teams. So in VMware Cloud on AWS, the developers and testers, they can provision as many environment as they can, and they can do the testing in the cloud and then move their workloads back on-prem for the production. So that's the three key use case. Because of the three key use case, the customers can enjoy some of the key values, or what kind of business values we can bring to our customer is that first, because everything is very fast, because VMware is managing this environment and all the processes are automatic, so that you can focus on the things your company is doing, and the innovation will be going fast, and also the time to market will be much faster. And also, most importantly, because it's a cloud-based and the cost model will be shifted from CapEx to OpEx, meaning your upfront cost will be much lower. And it's not only about upfront cost, it's also about the total cost. The TCO will be much lower if you're moving your workloads from on-prem to cloud. So that's why we work with AkasiaCloud on this cost assessment tool. Later they will give you a detailed demo and presentation on there too. So this is about the pricing. So for the pricing part, we provide very flexible pricing. We provide on demand. It's hourly based. It's hourly charged and monthly billing. And also we provide 1 year, 3 year, subscription model. That is not available now, but it's in development and will be available in next release. So here, one of the difference, if you compare VMware Cloud on AWS and other cloud vendors, is that we are host-based. And for AWS or Microsoft Azure, they are kind of like instance-based. You go there to buy instance. But here, because we're targeting enterprise customers, and we provide host. You go to VMware Cloud on AWS and you buy host. What that means is that you can control the environment, and it's your decision to decide how many VMs you can run on each host. And here the pricing is a list pricing, so it's a discount is not included. So we want to promote to our customers, if you're running vSphere, we can give you like a 10% discount. If you're running more VMware products, we will provide you more discount. Another thing is about here the egress charge is not included, but it's kind of like if you move your workloads from VMware Cloud on AWS out to your on-prem data center, that's egress. So you will charge like 5 cents. That's that per GB. That means if your move like 1 terabytes workloads out of your environment, you will only charge like 50 bucks. So that's for the egress charge. Okay, then let's see a live demo. So VMware built a new website called VMware Cloud on AWS. It's cloud.vmware.com. That's a URL. So everything starts here. You go here, you can find out all the cloud service VMware is having. When you click the service and cloud product button, you can see all the kind of like the SaaS-based products VMware is having. And the first one is VMware Cloud on AWS. You click this, and then you go to this site. This is a landing page for VMware Cloud on AWS. Here you can find everything about VMware Cloud on AWS. You can find the features. You can check out the pricing part. You can find the FAQs, resources, and find out all the partners we have for VMware Cloud on AWS. So if you want to buy this new cloud service, you just click this button, contact sales, and then input your information, and then our salespeople will contact you. Okay, because I'm already a user, so I just click this sign in. Then I will log into this console, this cloud console. You can see several of the services available to me. Let me click open VMware Cloud on AWS. Then I log into the console. So as you can see, I already have 2 SDDCs in my console. It's very easy for you to create a SDDC. So let me emphasize SDDC is a data center. So think about how much time you need to build your own data center. It will be a long time. But here, if you click create SDDC, you just need several steps. You will create a data center online, and it will only cost you like 2 hours. And it's kind of like a launch time. Before you launch, you click button. After launch, you will have SDDC available in the cloud. Okay, let's see the details of the SDDC. So let's just click view details. So the first page, you can see the utilization rate for the CPU, memory, and the storage. So, and then, you can see, here you can see it's on the US West, it's on the Oregon region, and then we will expand to more regions in the future releases. For the networking part, the key message here is that we want to make the networking much easier as you can. You don't need like 10 years network expert to manage this environment. It's super easy. You can see we separate our workloads as management and compute, so that you have 2 gateways here. And for the management, you're running vCenter and NSX. For the compute, you're running your workloads. So you can build the firewall rules. It's very easy to add VPN, add firewall, so that you can connect between on-prem and your cloud. Also, for this one, this line is about the connection between AWS service and VMware Cloud on AWS. We build connection so that you can utilize AWS services. So for the connection information here, that's about vSphere client. For in AWS, we're running a H5-based client, and it's here. So you can see this is the vCenter vSphere client, and if you click host, you can see it's the same environment. If many of our customers are using this UI every day, so it's the same thing for you. And for the support part, as you can see, this is we have the organization ID, we have the SDDC ID. This is where your provide that IDs to our support team so that we can provide you like 24/7 a day, 24/7 a week, and 365 a year. And also we build in this support for any questions. You just input, have a conversation. It's online, very, very fast. With that, I will hand over to Gautam to show his demo.
Okay, great. Hey, thanks, Alex. And I think what I'll do now is go through 3 polls, and then we'll have Gautam run through our support for VMware Cloud on AWS, as well as give us a demo. So very quickly, if everybody could answer these questions, then we'll get started with Gautam's portion. Okay, people are still voting. That's great. All right. I think we'll close this. And the next, well, let me just share the results. So it sounds as if 50% of you are interested in VMware Cloud on Amazon because you're building a hybrid infrastructure. So that's really good for us to know. The next highest reason is familiarity with managing VMware and the convenience of AWS. Okay, that's great to know. Second poll is, are you migrating existing infrastructure to VMware Cloud on Amazon or deploying new applications? So, all right, it sounds as if everybody who wanted to vote has voted, and I'll share this. Overwhelmingly, you're thinking of doing both, migrating existing infrastructure as well as deploying new applications. Great, and one last yes or no question. Do you have VC Ops deployed in your environment? Okay, so it looks like everybody that wanted to vote has voted. And, oh, 100% of you do not have vRealize automation. Okay, these are all good questions for us to know. And with that, we will now hand over to Gautam. Gautam, could you take us through our solutions?
Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So good morning, everybody, and thank you, Alex, for giving us an overview of VMware Cloud on Amazon. And I will go talk about migration planning and how we in Akasia help our customers in the planning for migration or a transition to VMware Cloud on Amazon. I will be going through a couple of slides, and I'll give you a demo as well. So first and foremost, as customers are transitioning to the cloud, even in the early stage of the planning, there are fundamental questions that needs to be answered. In other words, if I have all of this infrastructure, hundreds and hundreds of systems on-prem, and if my intent is to move these functions or workloads to the cloud, what is needed to replace what I have on-prem with what is on cloud? And if I'm building something new, what would I need? And most important, how much would it cost? And how much would it cost across different clouds? And why do we need this? If you look at what's happening today, is that if you look at any particular cloud, there are the variations, permutations, and all sorts of things are amazing, are just overwhelming. And just taking a look at, just like Amazon AWS, there are 90 plus instance types in EC2. And each one of those has an average of 12 variations per instance in terms of licensing, or reserve instance, or on demand, and what have you. So now you're talking about thousands of options to choose from. And that becomes an extremely challenging problem, especially when you're considering moving thousands of systems across. So, and just to give you a quick scenario, in EC2 itself, you're talking about 100 plus products, about 100K plus options. Now you talk about non-EC2 products, the other products from Amazon. Now you're talking about 300,000 plus. Then as we add other clouds, the Googles, the Azures, and everything else, we're talking close to 1 million options to choose from, which becomes very difficult. And by the way, it's rapidly growing, and the permutations, combinations, and prices do change as well. So in this ever-changing environment, how do you plan? So that's really where we come into play. And again, I just mentioned about licensing discount models, so there are some more details about it. I'm not going to go through it, but I'm going to go really talk about what we in Akasia do. So we help enterprises and customers figure out what would be needed to replace what's on-prem with what would be in cloud, what would be needed to build a new infrastructure, and what are the costs associated. And we do this in minutes to an hour. We have three product offerings, three offerings. One is our cost planning, wherein basically, if you are going to be transitioning what you have on-prem to cloud, we use our technology called AIM, which is Akasia Infrastructure Modeler. And if you're planning something brand new, a new initiative, and you want to figure out what components you would need and how much it will cost, our ACM product is the one to use. And of course, we have our services. So let's talk about what we do and what we're going to do about VMware Cloud in Amazon. So as you consider planning for migration to VMware Cloud in Amazon, there are several things that you would have to do. And these are the things that our product and our services help you navigate through. So first and foremost, you do have to discover what you have on-prem. And you have to discover not only what's the configuration, but other important elements as to the utilization. Plus, another very big element is the networking. Alex talked about egress from your infrastructure. You do have to make sure that you're accounting for egress activities as you plan for your cloud. The second thing is you model and customize your on-prem. I'll talk about that a little more later. Then next is mapping what you have to what would be required if you were to move to VMware on Amazon or AWS native, or Azure, Google, Bluemix, or Oracle. Then you can compare the cost across each one of them. And then particularly when it comes to VMware Cloud on Amazon, like Alex says, you pay by the host, you don't pay by the instance. So one very key element for you to know is how many hosts would I need to run my infrastructure in the cloud. And then next thing is having understood how many hosts you're going to need, you may want to know how to allocate, how to locate, how to plant each VM into what host. So that's also one important aspect. And then as you see, one of the reasons why you're moving to Amazon is because you want to tap into native Amazon services as well. So in the planning phase, you can add those as well. And then if you're considering looking at from a completely transition project, you can add other transitional costs as well. So you have a complete view of what would it take for you to move your systems or on-prem to infrastructure. So these are the 9 steps that I'm going to demonstrate today using our technology. So with that in mind, I'm going to close off my presentation and move to my browser. So this is, can you see my browser? Yes. Okay. So this is our application. It's available as a SaaS platform online. And as you log in, as I mentioned, there are 2 products. One is Akasia Infrastructure Modeling, which is used for modeling what you have on-prem to what would be on the cloud. The second product is our cloud modeling, which is for brand new projects. So today we're going to talk about Akasia infrastructure modeling. So first and foremost, what you would do is you would see this screen, and the first step is actually discovering what you have on-prem and then ingesting that into our system for the modeling purposes. And as you can see, I've been using my platform quite a bit for various things. I have about 67 different sources of data that I've modeled for. So I'm going to pick this one, my Santa Clara Data Center 2, and let's take a look at what we have here. Lots of, so essentially I have 108 hosts, and I have how many virtual machines? 1675 virtual machines, physical infrastructure, number of disks, how much terabytes, how much is used, number of CPUs, number of cores, and so on and so forth. And right off the bat, I get to see how much would it cost if I were to move everything, all the powered on 100 systems that is currently on-prem. So if I look at what is, a quick look is on-prem, we've estimated that, for this particular environment, we're spending about $257,000 per month. And if you were to move this to native Amazon, it's going to cost about $180K. And if you were to consider moving to Amazon VMware on Amazon AWS, it's significant. It's $160K. How do we get these numbers? That's what we're going to see next. So this is a quick view of what you have. But as you're planning your project, you're probably not going to say, okay, I'm going to move my entire system wholesale. I'm going to start pick and choose and see how it goes, right? So the next step is, now that having done the discovery and uploaded, oh, by the way, even as this screen is coming up, the act of discovery and uploading varies from a few minutes to about an hour, depending upon the size of your environment. So in this particular case, where we had about 108 hosts and about 1675 virtual machines, it took us about 15 to 20 minutes to do the discovery act, and another 10 minutes to actually do the ingestion and the analytics on top of that. So here, what I have here is I have selected my source as my Santa Clara data center, and I have all of these. I am selecting by the virtual machines, or I can pick by the host. And if I pick a host, then these are the hosts that will show up, and I can pick all the virtual machines within this host. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to go by the virtual machines. All right. And I'm going to just select the ones which is powered on. So I'm going to select all of them here, and I say add to my modeling group. So now it's almost like I'm adding my virtual machines to a shopping cart. Once it's been added, I say, okay, let's just go compare them and do the modeling across different clouds. So this is doing quite a big heavy-duty number crunching here. We are looking at about 1,500 virtual machines, mapping it to equivalents in 6 different clouds, and also calculating the cost as we speak here. So here we go. So currently, in order to run this 1,443 virtual machines with 745 vCPUs, so much cycles, and so much storage and memory, I am spending on-prem about 90K in CapEx and about 160 grand in OpEx. And my total spend per month is about $250,000. And if I were to move all of these wholesale, these are a quick review of how much it would cost on-prem. So if you were to look at Amazon native, it's going to be about 180. And if you look at 3-year VMware on cloud, it's going to be 112. Why is this difference? Because key thing is that because you're running your infrastructure in VMware and Amazon, you are running just like you run on-prem. You're paying by the host. You are not concerned about what's VM inside it. And so when you start looking from that point of view, and you start thinking about condensing and overcommitting, you can certainly optimize the cost very effectively. So here was a quick chart, but here's what the details are. If you were to move everything wholesale to Amazon native. And by the way, if you are to move your systems as is configured, not as is utilized, you would actually end up spending about almost $800K per month in Amazon. But obviously, we definitely do not recommend that you should move your infrastructure as is. You should actually optimize it and right size it based on utilization. Then you're likely to spend about $180K if you were to move to Amazon on demand. And now let's look at VMware on Amazon. So we are showing you 3 types. One is a 3-year reserve instance in which you're spending about $112K total, and then $128K if you do the 1 year, and $161K if you do the 3 years. I'm sorry, on demand. Right? So this is how you will see each of these details about each of the different options, different clouds that you will where to go to. So I'm going to go ahead and pick VMware a 3-year reserve instances, and here we go. So we have determined that for what you need, we need about 93 hosts if you were to move everything as is configured. But if you were to look at from an optimized point of view, a lot of, in general, enterprises, we tend to over provision our virtual machines with more CPU and more memory than is actually used. So by the way, our software will be able to detect whether you're using your infrastructure optimally or not, and will give you the right numbers that we recommend. So if you look at it as is, it's going to be 93 hosts, but if you optimize, it's going to be 45 hosts. And next thing is that you actually see that, the clusters. So on the left-hand side, you see the gray area, which is if everything, all the virtual machines were to be moved as is configured, and you were planning for that, then this is the number of clusters you would need. So first cluster would be 16 hosts, second cluster would be 16, and so on and so forth, and the final cluster will be 13. On the other hand, if you were to move, if you were to follow a recommendation of right sizing, you would actually have 3 clusters, 16, 16, and 13, and this would be the amount of virtual machines that you can throw into those cluster of 16 systems. So you can highly optimize it and shrink your footprint in the data center as well.
So one thing I want to point out here, Gautam, that if you look at the difference between the fully allocated costs, which is $102,000, and right size cost, which is under $50,000, you can see that in this particular instance, and this is a real world environment, an actual customer's environment, this customer can save more than 50% by going to VMware Cloud on Amazon.
With right sizing.
By right sizing using Akasia. Right. Just wanted to point that out.
And while we are at it, you notice that the network cost in this particular instance is fairly high because this particular environment is extremely network heavy, lots of egress happening there, so heavy duty network cost involved here. But more than likely, this would not be the case for most customers. So this number could be significantly low, and the right-hand side numbers would be also significantly low as well. With that in mind, so now that I've picked up my modeling for my Amazon, VMware on Amazon, I picked my host, the number of hosts, and so on and so forth. I'm interested now in figuring out what else could I add from Amazon, and that's what I'm here for. So I can be, so on the left-hand side, we have a long list of categories of products that you can pick. You can add additional storage, EC2 storage. I can add some here, add some of these here, and data transfer out. One of the things that we were talking about, we can add support, and this list goes on and on. And so anyway, for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to quickly move forward. And next thing is, now here's something very important. I'm looking at my transition project as a project. So one of the things, and when I'm thinking about this as a project, I do have to plan for one-time cost of migration as well. In general, if you're moving your infrastructure from on-prem to a native cloud environment, Amazon, a native AWS, Google, or whatever, typical cost is about $250 to $300 per virtual machine that you would have to incur in terms of the software you would need, the labor you would need, and the actual transport of data as well. Now, in case of VMware on Amazon, like Alex pointed out, there's no need for converting your virtual machine format to an Amazon format. So essentially, your cost of migration can become extremely low. We talked to several customers. We did some modeling. On an average, it's about $10 to $15 per system when you start talking about the time that people will spend and so on and so forth. So you can add, now from a project management point of view, I could say that for migrating 1,400 systems across at $10 per system, I would say I'm going to spend a one-time fee of $15,000, okay, for migrating, and so normally in other cases it would be about hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, this is common for any migration to cost, your network cost. Now, in the past, you had your infrastructure on-prem. You were connecting to your infrastructure on-prem by your network local LAN, but now your infrastructure has moved to the cloud, and while sitting in your office, you do want to connect to those systems. So you may have to buy some network in MPLS circuits and so on and so forth. And let's say that we're spending about $3,000 per month for this case. Admin hours per month. Now, typically, if you move to native Amazon, you would have to be hiring really highly trained Amazon administrators. And they can be pretty expensive, but in your case, you're running vCenter, you're running vRealize, the native VMware tools that you've always been used to. So the admin cost, may be very, very minimal for you. So anyways, I'm not going to add anything for this case here. I'm just going to go ahead and model it. And you can add more additional other costs that could occur for you as well. So you can use our software to model exactly what you have. So for the to keep my demo moving forward, I'm just going to go ahead and show you the results of this modeling, which I did for VMware on. It takes a bit. There's a lot of number crunching happening right now, even as we speak. And here we go. So there is on-prem cost is about $250K. There's a one-time cost of about $15,000, and this is going to be my cost, which includes everything in Amazon plus all the VMware on Amazon plus additional Amazon resources that I pick and other monthly costs that I'm incurring. So this is the total cost that you would see. Right. So on-prem, this is what you have today. And by the way, Alex mentioned that being a great VMware customer, by default, if you're using ESX vSphere, you get 10%. But if you're adding other applications, you would get anywhere up to 15 to 20%. So anyway, I'm going to put 10%, apply this, and that number, again, changes to your benefit. And then finally, this is what you will see. Even though I picked 3-year as my option when I did the modeling, the software will still show you all the different options. You can look at 3-year option, or a 1-year option, or on demand. It's as you please. This helps to do the financialing what-if scenario as well for your budgeting and planning. And then that's kind of where a lot of the financial discussions conclude. But then once the financial decisions are made, you do have to have actionable information to figure out what exactly you're going to do. This is where the rest of the information comes in. That this is the names of all my virtual machines. This is the, I picked, remember I had about 4 clusters. So this will be cluster 1. This one should be allocated to this cluster. This is the OS for that. This is the particular virtual machine, the vCPU, number of cycles, memory. So this is the exact configuration that you could use to create your virtual machines as well. And in this case, we're talking about lots and lots of them. So I am going to scroll right down to the bottom, and where am I? Okay, so I'm going to grab this and just go to the bottom of my screen. Okay, so at the end, what you can see here is that what I did was a summary. So if I were to move everything as it is, I'm going to need 6 clusters and 93 hosts. And if I were doing right size, I'll have 3 clusters. A cluster, by the way, is a group of 16 hosts. And so I'll need 45, and these are my cores, my configuration information. And these are the additional services from Amazon that I had added for my particular project. And then this is my total monthly administrative costs, my network costs, my admin costs, and so on and so forth. One-time migration of 15,000. And this is my final cost that I would see. So if I were to do the 3-year reserve instance right size, this is the number that I would focus on, that this is what I would budget for. So I can export this to a spreadsheet or a PDF and do additional modeling and playing around with the numbers as I see fit. So that kind of concludes my demo at this time. So to recap, I did the discovery, I did the modeling, and by the way, as you know, I kept mentioning that, you know, what I estimated on-prem cost is about $250K. That was based on standard published numbers of servers and storage from leading vendors, but you can override that with your real cost, actual cost. I did mapping to different clouds. I compared across different clouds. I showed you what resources in VMware Cloud on Amazon is required. I showed the allocation of each virtual machine to what cluster, and showed Amazon additional services, how it would look like, and I showed you the final cost, the bill of materials, and how to allocate.
All right. Thank you, Gautam. We'll start our Q&A now, and there are several questions that have been coming in. The first question, this is for you to answer, Alex. And this is as they define a hybrid cloud between VMware on Amazon and their on-prem vCenter, will the traffic between the on-prem vCenter and VMware Cloud on Amazon, will that be something that they have to pay for? Will it be free or will it cost them?
Yeah, this is a good question. So for all the traffics between your on-premise data center and VMware Cloud on AWS, if it's ingress traffic, there is no cost. If it's egress cost, meaning if you're moving your workloads from VMware Cloud on AWS to your on-premise data center or somewhere else, then you will be charged the egress cost. But that's very, very little cost. As I mentioned, if you migrate like 1 terabyte of data out of that environment, you'll only charge $50. So $50 per 1 TB.
Okay, got it. Another question, this is related to the first question, is how can I connect VMware Cloud on AWS with my on-prem environment?
2 options. For now, you can use a level 3 VPN, IPsec VPN to do the connection. And that's available now. Also, we're working with Direct Connect. That's in development. You can use Direct Connect for the second release that will be in November.
Okay, got it. Okay, now another question for you, Alex. Do I need NSX on-prem to run VMware Cloud on AWS?
No, you don't need NSX. You don't need NSX for all the features. For example, that hybrid link mode and the vMotion, you don't need NSX on-prem. For vMotion, you just need a level 2 VPN so that you can do the vMotion. And for the hybrid link mode, you just need a level 3 VPN. So. Okay.
One more question for you, Alex, and then I'll pass on the questions for Gautam. Which AWS services can I access from VMware Cloud on AWS?
Yeah, that's a good question. So because we see that's a benefit for the customers to leverage the broad AWS services. So currently in the first release, our customers can use EC2 or S3 or DRS, those kind of very popular AWS features, and we are keeping adding new features to our service, meaning you can access more features in the AWS service in the future. And I can give you a kind of example. A lot of our kind of like a DR, a lot of customers asking for DR or backup. So one popular use case for this one is that our customers can backup or backup their data into AWS 3, and then they can recover that to VMware Cloud on AWS because it's a VPC based connection. It's an ENI. That means that there is no egress cost. So it's inside that AWS environment. So meaning that's a direct connect. If you're using AWS services, you will not charge anything else. That's a native service for us.
Got it. Thank you. Gautam, the next couple of questions are for you. So it looks as if Akasia shows you what the costs are for as-is as well as for right-sized. For this, you need the data that we are collecting from on-prem. The data that's being collected from on-prem, how is it being collected? Does the customer need to have vRealize automation to be able to get the data that Akasia needs?
Thank you. Great question there. No, when you do for collecting the information, the first step is that you would log into you set up an account on our system, and you would download what we call as a collector. It's a very small, lightweight, small footprint, about 25 megabytes of Java code. You would run that, and that application will talk to vCenter or ESX servers and collect information such as host configuration, VM configuration, and storage configurations, and your utilization of CPU memory, disk, and network activity as well. This gets done in a few minutes, and it creates 4 CSV files, which is human readable, and then you would upload that to our platform, and then the analysis starts from that point. So essentially, you don't need vRealize or any of that other products.
And if the customer needed to play with the Akasia tool before they purchase licenses, is there a free trial? I'll take that question. Yes, there is a free trial option, and you all should sign up and take advantage of it. Okay, so I don't see any other questions coming in, and we are 3 minutes over time. So with this, we will conclude our webinar. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and you will be receiving an email from us that includes this recording. And if you have any questions, our contact information is on the slide there. It will be available in the recording as well. Feel free to contact Alex or Gautam directly if you have questions. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.